Good afternoon on what is a warm, bright and sunny day. It is Sunday the 14th of April and I'm in the Read Nook with a nice hot cup of tea and a box to continue unboxing. I'm going to pull out of here is a couple of things because they are connected. This is Bee-Ware by Kelvin Green. Now this is a scenario by Lamentations, from Lamentations of the Flame Princess. It's written for use with Lamentations of the Flame Princess with fantasy roleplay. And Kelvin is quite a regular author for that publisher. You know, he's written Forgive Us, Fishfuckers, More Than Meets the Eye, Midwinter, Green Messiah, and others, including Winnie the Shit, which is which I did an unboxing of previously. So, the other thing to look at is this, which is a little bit of a promotional fluff to really kind of tie in with this release. So, okay, when the buzzing starts, the horror begins. The quiet village of Ambersham produces prize-winning mead and hides a deadly secret. For the people of Ambersham are shape-changing monstrosities under the influence of a hideous queen. Corrupted by a power that is not hers by right, a power stolen from a transcendent entity that even now plots its escape. Bee-Ware is an adventure for Lamentations of the Flame Princess with fantasy role-playing and other traditional role-playing games. The adventure is packed full of very deadly monsters, and as such is best suited for careful and clever players. Those who desire direct combat will need lots of characters, high-level characters, or both. So, as it says at the bottom here, Kelvin regrets nothing. So we have a bee-themed scenario, and that starts straight off with the honeycomb on the inside of the front and back cover. Open up, okay. So we've got the credits page, and we have a hive there. And we even have a little bit of a comic strip there as an introduction, before we get into a guide to running the adventure, and a warning that says, be kinder. If 50 plus save or die monsters seem a bit excessive to you, and I must admit in my weaker moments I do second guess my motivations there, then consider applying a damage per hit die of per bee person or half on a successful save. Because so already this is telling you that this is a nasty, deadly adventure. Now, is that a lot different from any other scenario for Lamentations of the Flame Princess with fantasy role-playing? Well, yes, probably not. Anyway, so the other thing is you are going to get an awful lot of bee puns in here, which may well become, well, certainly not becoming, will actually be annoying, as in becoming involved. So that's how the people get involved. What does everyone want, and what will they get to do it? So, you know, you've got a list of all the motivations of the factions involved in and around the village of Ambersham. And then we get on to the subject of Ambersham Mead and Ambersham Peculiar, essentially the two alcoholic beverages that the village is famed for, and the business involved. Anyway, and it was says, be pedantic. Actually, the queen bee does not produce raw jelly. Well, that's correct. But hey, honestly, we're talking about a fantasy scenario with Lamentations of the Flame Press with fantasy role-playing. So, does it actually matter? Not a lot. Maybe you can hire the B team. So, you know, essentially, here we've got various list of NPCs which might become involved in the adventure, including a list of their names. And there's a really creepy encounter with one of the bee creatures, bee persons, and you encounter a couple of spanners in the ointment along the way. Essentially, monster hunters turn up to deal with the problem. So sort of very kind of Inquisition, very kind of Witchfinder General, if you like. It's sort of, I mean, this is kind of set, as a lot of the other scenarios are for Lamentations of the Flame Princess with fantasy roleplay, in the early modern period, so we are talking the early 17th century, up until sort of like roughly the period of essentially the reign of King Charles I, the English Civil War, and the 30 Years' War in Europe. So yeah, that's about the right period. You could shift it back and forth a little bit if you wanted to. So there we've got a map of Ambersham, but with the conclusion of this, it is channeling a little bit of Hammer horror there. If you look at Witchfinder General, you just want someone to be, you want Vincent Price to turn up as your Witchfinder. And if you want to play around with history, make sure he's playing Matthew Hopkins. Okay. And we have another pawn, but this one's a bit clever. So you've got the map there of the manor, and then you've got the to the manor spawned. Because the phrase is to the manor born, but to the manor spawned is a little bit more inventive. That's a pun I do appreciate, rather than all the B pawns. So we've got the location description, quite detailed, of the manor house. And here we actually have Lady Melissa Ambersham, the fearsome bee queen herself. Or is that the fearsome queen bee? And there we have a prisoner there, because now that he's held prisoner, he's behaving. So it's a really nice looking little book, I have to admit. The illustrations are great, the cartography is good, and then we come to Welcome to the House of Fun, where all the bad stuff is happening. There's descriptions of these locations. Nothing quite immediately stands out. But you do have a ritual room complete with a hexagon, and the possibility of the player characters facing a swarm, which I think they're just going to run away from, because hey, they're player characters. And then what happens when the swarm heads home? And essentially you've got other locations within this area, shattered corridors, suffering the effects of the entity's magic. And then we do actually get into the place between, so there is kind of a weird mystical element to this, which is illustrated there in basically bright yellow and black zigzags, as it were. And then an explanation of the enchantment of Bradford Crane, major NPC. You have all of the NPCs listed here for easy reference. But brilliantly, very nicely thematic throughout. And then, where is the Dungeon Master's Guide for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition and following on has its own Appendix N? What do you think the appendix is called in this book? Go on, I won't let you think about it for very long, but Appendix B, yes. So here's a list of all the inspirations, which is the sort of thing I do appreciate, because you can, why on earth did the author think of those? And he's going to tell you. So that is Bee-Ware by Kelvin Green, and the other thing to go with it is the Big Bees Book of Spells. Okay, it's the thing is, this is both the Big Bees Book of Spells and also Big Bees Book of Spells. Let me try that again. This is both the Big Bees Book of Spells and Big Bees of Spells. So it's kind of like a nod to the Dungeons and Dragons, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons character Big B, as in Big B's, hand, enormous hand, and this is essentially this is actually a copy of the Weird Crusher, a promotional series of releases, each containing a short adventure, an expanded format encounter for use with Lamentations of the Princess. So, you know, this kind of here we've actually got a list of all of the print releases for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and it's basically, you know, this is a promotional thing, a flyer, and you've got the front page for the Weird Crusher name, and then on the back, inside we have a list of various spells and so on, such as Big Bee's Crushing Disappointment, Big Bee's 5-finger discount, Big Bee's Invisible Hand, and so on, which you could throw into a game. They're all a bit tongue-in-cheek and very silly. Whether or not they would work with the two together is another matter, but they kind of thematically sort of go together. But anyway, in the meantime, that's Bee-Ware for Lamentations of the Flame Princess with fantasy role-playing. If you enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a box containing a book or game, or in this case a scenario for Lamentations of the Flame Princess with fantasy role-playing, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.